the brain. Despite the vast mystery of this organ, there's one thing we can make sense of, and that is if we don't exercise our brains, they will grow weak. Okay, it's not that dramatic. Many people believe that mandatory assignments are just enough to stay mentally engaged, which separates them from those who want to grow on their own. This idea of self-education is something that I really do value. Self-education allows us to gauge individuals' ability to be open-minded and truly educated. Do you think Arnold really just stopped working out because he thought he had all the muscle? He already raised the bar high enough? No. Learning embodies the idea of constant self-evolution. The first way to keep that noodle sharp. I think a few of us have heard this throughout our lifetime, right? Yeah. According to a review done by the UMSIDA, studies have found that reading, for one, helps the reader understand new perspectives, which helps with decision making and improves overall communication skills. Two, reading makes you smarter. All right, so here's a great analogy that one of my mentors gave me that I'm gonna share with you guys. You should view the brain and all of its neurons like a branch of roads. People who don't make new connections throughout their brain end up just staying on these old dirt roads. But whenever you develop connectivity and communication between the neurons in your brain, you develop these communications to operate much like a highway. When you utilize speed and efficiency, you'll go places that you never thought you'll ever go. Reading is also beneficial in that it improves memory, increases creativity, and you are able to learn from the masters who created the book. Pretty crazy. The University of Liverpool found that reading helps patients suffering from depression in terms of their social well-being, increasing personal confidence and fostering a sense of community and encouraging communication skills. By reading, you are able to enrich your vocabulary, and you're gonna view words that you've never ever seen before. If you don't feel like you have time to read, then a great alternative is audiobooks. Some book recommendations that I have are 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Reading is ultimately what levels the playing field. Set some goals for yourself and just start reading by whether that's 10 pages a day or just adjust it as you see fit. If you aren't the biggest reader, then a great alternative is by watching documentaries and docuseries. Reading is great, but if you're tired of hitting the books, then this is a solid way to go. Documentaries provide two of the four modes of learning by providing an audio and visual experience. Research done by Eurasia found that documentaries followed by collaborative reflection are beneficial to developing students' perspective taking, critical thinking abilities, and sense of relevance. In other words, documentaries can be a great tool for learning. They must also be accompanied by reflection and information recall. Some documentaries that I recommend that are on Netflix include Unnatural Selection, which covers genetics, The Surgeon's Cut, The Social Dilemma, and The Mind Explained. Tons of great educational films that you could find on Netflix, Hulu, wherever, and this is not even including the abundance of knowledge that's on YouTube. I'm gonna leave a link in the description of a YouTube playlist that I made that's called Expand Your Mind, and it's just full of a bunch of videos that I found to be very interesting, that are very educational, and that I feel like you can benefit from. Tip number 3 is to pick up an instrument. Research done by the Federal Practitioner found that playing an instrument elicits brain changes that positively influence cognitive functioning and decreases stress. Plus, you look pretty cool doing it. You don't need the best equipment to get started. You could pick up a guitar or piano as cheap as $50 to $100. I personally learned the most by just learning the songs that I love the most, whether that's finding some covers or whatever songs that you want to pick. But the biggest thing on this tip is just stick with it. But once you start getting the hang of it, it becomes super fun. Tip number 4 is do some brain games. Now this can include playing chess, Rubik's Cubes, puzzles, whatever. According to the Science Times, playing chess has been shown to exercise both hemispheres of the brain, increase IQ, improve problem-solving skills, develop foresight, and improve memory. Similar results have been associated with Rubik's Cubes and puzzles. But also make sure you're not getting the 4-piece jigsaw puzzle of a puppy. Pushing yourself is the only way that any of this is gonna work. Also, I'll put a link in the description for some free brain games that are on the App Store. Tip number 5 is to learn another language. Learning another language has been proven to improve overall brain functionality. And according to Knowable magazine, the volume of gray matter in the brain increases in those who are bilingual. Gray matter serves as the information processing part of the brain. For example, if your brain was a computer, learning another language is like updating your hardware and moving the Wi-Fi router right next to your computer. Talk to someone who understands the language and who can speak to you in that language, or just listening to music that is in that language, whatever. It's all about hearing, the language, and trying to interpret it. Tip number 6 is to sleep. According to a research article done by the Laboratory for Magnetic Brain Simulation, conclusions found that when an individual is aware of having learned a new skill, the development of further skill without practice is dependent upon sleep. Also, here's a little chart to put sleep into perspective. Sleep is where you recover and you're able to ingrain that new information. Tip number 7 is exercise. That's right, I'm calling you out. Exercise is of course known for its physical way of improving health, but research and testimonies have shown how helpful exercise can be on your mental health and growth. I personally really enjoy the psychological confidence that exercise provides for me, but in this video we're just going to focus on how it can actually make you smarter. Whenever you get your heart rate pumping, your blood vessels start to dilate with more circulated blood, which results to more oxygen and nutrients to your brain. The study at hand strongly supports previous evidence on the positive effect of acute exercise on mental health, related variables like mood, state stress, and state anxiety. And as you know, we are able to learn the best when we are able to minimize our stress and to maximize our mindfulness. Tip number 8 is to eat good. When you eat good, you cultivate good gut bacteria, which is in fact directly correlated to your brain. Give your brain the right nourishment and you'll be running as smooth as a granite countertop. Yeah, some great brain foods that memory and speed reading expert Jim Quick recommends include blueberries, avocados, wild salmon, broccoli, and dark chocolate. Tip number 9 is to talk to people you want to learn from. Get out and ask. Try and pick their brain and write some questions beforehand. Finally, number 10 is to meditate. Meditation is, well, I think Dan Harris explains it pretty well.
And then the third step is the biggie, which is as soon as you try to do this, your mind's going to go bonkers. You're going to start thinking about, what's for lunch, do I need a haircut, where do gerbils run wild, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're just going to notice, oh, my mind's going crazy right now. But that noticing is the key moment, is in fact the victory. It's interesting because this is when most people think they've failed, that because, I can't meditate because I can't clear my mind. This is the biggest misconception about meditation. You do not need to clear your mind. That's impossible unless you're enlightened or dead. The whole goal is just to notice when you've become distracted and start again. You return your attention to your breath, and you just do that a million times. And every time you catch yourself wondering and go back to your breath, it's a bicep curl for your brain.
The University of Atlanta did research on meditation, and this is what they found. The amount of time an individual spends on practicing meditation is associated with activity and connectivity changes in the brain, particularly in attention regions. There are so many benefits to meditation, and some of which include more focus, improved self-esteem, reduced stress, decreased anxiety and depression, pain control, higher empathy, and overall kindness. 2 apps that I recommend that are great to get a good foot in the door when starting to meditate is 10% Happier and Waking Up. I'll put a link in the description for the 2 apps, and as you guessed, they're both free. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and if you can please sub and like if you found value in this video. Once again, my name is Andres, and I'll see you next time.